Hello, class. Welcome to my presentation on the rise of cloud computing. In my presentation, we'll go over the definition of cloud computing, the models of cloud computing, the stakeholders of cloud computing, the advantages of using cloud services, and ethical issues and social responsibility of cloud services. So a little background on cloud computing. Cloud computing is actually not new technology. Is actually referred to as distributed systems, and it's been around since the 1960s. And it was mainly used for financial services and government agencies. In fact, I used to work in a company that utilized distributed systems for developing COBOL software for a financial firm. But nowadays, cloud services are also utilized in most of the internet services that we use today, such as Facebook, Gmail, Amazon heavily uses cloud services. So cloud services has really been adapted in the technology that we use today. So let's just go over what is cloud computing. So cloud computing is basically an information technology model where cloud services, including hardware and software, is delivered on an on-demand basis for customers over a network, and it's usually in a self-service fashion, independent of the device and location. For instance, you should be able to use cloud services on your laptop, on your cell phone, on a gaming device, really any device that you can connect to a network, private or public. Cloud services enables a client to use the services of a firm on a need basis, basically. So there are several models that are utilized today in cloud services. The first I want to go over is software as a service model, or also known as SaaS. And what this is that basically does software that runs in the cloud, removing the need for a client to install the apps on their local machine. A lot of the software in this category would be basic word processing software like Microsoft Office 365, word processing, or PowerPoint, or the Excel apps, or the Google App Suite with like Gmail, Google Docs, Google Hangout, and also would include apps like TurboTax Online, which is another considered a software as a service app. And this could also include social media apps like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Basically, any app that you don't necessarily need to download to your local device and runs over a network would be considered a software over a service, or SaaS, cloud computing service. The next cloud computing model would be platform as a service, or PaaS. And basically, this is computing power. This is providing computing power to facilitate development and deployment of applications over a network. Using this model, firms can save costs, can provide cost saving for firms for their IT services. For instance, example of this would be Microsoft Azure's platform, or Amazon's relational database services. And these basically are services that provide development environments for software engineers or application developers over a network. I believe Amazon Relationship Database provides a database for different firms utilize over a network. And the last model I want to go over is infrastructure as a service, which is basically providing cloud storage and computing power over a network. Examples of this would be Amazon's S3 storage and the EC2 computing platform from Rackspace Cloud Services. And this is basically this model is basically to provide extra computing power for different firms over a network. Like the name implies, the Amazon S3 storage is basically a platform for storing client data over a network that's offered by Amazon. And including different cloud computing models, there's also different deployment models, such as a public model would be deploying a cloud service over a public internet, or the private model would be providing cloud computing over a private network. Usually public would be for like widely used apps like social media apps or word processing apps that can be freely accessed over the internet, whereas a private model for deployment would be for more of a private firm, like a firm having its own database for storing client data. That would be a private model for deployment. Cloud computing also has different stakeholders. For instance, consumers would be subscribers to a cloud service. Basically, it would be the end users who subscribe for cloud services over a network and would access it on an operational need basis. So basically, a subscriber is someone who just orders a subscription for instance, for Microsoft 360 for a year to use their word processing software. That would be a consumer stakeholder. The providers would be those who offers these cloud services. So basically, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, those companies who provide cloud services like Gmail and Google Docs, those would be considered providers. Enablers are organizations who facilitate the products that are sold, the cloud service products that are sold. For instance, internet service provider would be a enabler. It provides an environment that allows for cloud computing. Lastly, the last stakeholder would be regulators. Regulators are the government body that provides oversight for how we use cloud computing. So for the advantages of cloud computing, there are several advantages for cloud computing. For instance, cloud computing lowers the entry cost for smaller firms who are trying to benefit from computer-intensive businesses. Basically, companies who cannot afford the infrastructure for these computer-intensive businesses, cloud computing provides a way for these smaller companies to enter these lines of businesses. It also makes it easier to scale up these IT services based on client need. As I said before, usually cloud services are accessed on a need basis. So if a firm feels that they need to scale up their business, they can do so easily with cloud services. And lastly, it provides immediate access to hardware resources with no capital investment from the user, leading to faster time to market. So if a company develops a new cloud service, by utilizing cloud services, they can offer these services quicker to market rather than investing heavily in infrastructure to try to push these services to the market. And the last point I want to go over regarding cloud services are the social and ethical issues that may come up using these services. One of them being net neutrality. In recent years, it's been discussed whether or not enablers like and ISPs have the right to limit data access to certain services, which could also affect cloud services. And those who are for cloud net neutrality believe that ISPs should provide equal access to all cloud services. And the other ethical issue that comes up regarding cloud service, the rise of cloud services, is data privacy. Data that are stored in the cloud is usually stored in other countries, and other countries have different differing privacy laws, and because of this, the laws conflict with each other. So regulators may need to step in to decide how to govern the different privacy laws differing from the origin country where the firm that's offering the client services is from, rather than from where the data is actually stored, which may be in another country. In conclusion, cloud services are a very prevalent